everybody. It's Angela. I'm the Inquisitive Farm Wife, and I'm so excited about my What's Up Wednesday tonight. I have not one, but two guests that will be joining me. I just want to say a quick thank you for those of you who are watching me live on YouTube, or maybe you're coming over from one of their channels, because it looks like I believe it's worked that we are live on all three of our channels tonight, which is very, very exciting. This is a first for me. And maybe you are going to watch me later on Rumble or listen to me on the podcast. You are all, each and every one of you, greatly appreciated. And I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm going to apologize to Big Valley Living. Whatever happened to me last week on your channel has evidently happened. I don't see the little wrench. So y'all be nice, because I think my number one moderator has been put in timeout or something. So anyway, everyone, welcome. And I know that you're excited to see my guest. So let's first bring up, let's see, Kowalski Mountain. Hello. We've got both Philip and Barbara tonight. How are you this evening?
We're doing good.
That is great. Fantastic. And we've got yet another channel. Let's see if I can find their little logo first. Maybe. I thought it was, oh, there it is. I keep going over it and over it. And here they are, Fuller Faith Farm. Welcome. How are you guys this evening?
We are doing good.
This is fantastic. So I will admit, I'm pretty sure that I met both of your channels through this June is Dairy Month collaboration. Yes, and I am so excited to find out that we're all three soap makers, but we all three have lots of other stuff going on our farms too. So I think I'll go ahead and start in the order that I brought you on. And my first question to each of you are going to be, what made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Oh, well, YouTube was kind of really an afterthought. I started a blog, KowalskiMountain.com, and I actually gave that to Philip as a gift, as a Christmas present, to record the journey of our homestead. And wow, I needed a place to put video. So I started a YouTube channel, not knowing a single thing about it, and really with no intention of doing anything with it. But we just started to build that and started hitting it hard and, aiming to get monetized on YouTube.
So how long have you had the YouTube channel up and going?
Well, over 2 years. But
okay.
So a good year, I never did anything more than post a little clip on it.
You know what? I have found that I thought I was like the only one out there that, like 4 years passed where I just had a channel just so I could like comment and maybe interact with other YouTubers. Mm-hmm. And I'm finding that a lot of people just do that. They don't immediately just get started doing videos. But I'd say for a year, people could go back to your channel and find some content and learn a little bit more about you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. My blog gives you the entire story from when we started it. And there's video clip throughout. You won't find those on YouTube. They're hidden, but you can still see them if you watch them through the blog.
Okay. So you probably don't have access to do it, but if one of you wants to try, you can certainly put that in the comment your blog site. But if anyone is interested in becoming more informed about their YouTube channel, if you go all the way up to the top of the comments, they will be the very first comment that you see. And while they're doing that, we're going to go downstairs here and we're going to talk to Fuller Faith Farm and ask them that same question. What made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
He did.
All his fault.
I had bought my wife a camera for photography about a year and a half before we started the YouTube channel. And I figured since we had the camera and we were doing the homesteading thing and all I did was watch homesteading videos.
That's it. That's all he watched.
on YouTube, I might as well make some of my own. So I made one short just on a whim and posted it, and it did extremely well. I think it went a little, not, I wouldn't say,
No, it was like 1,200 maybe.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
for my first, little foray, it was exciting, and then we kind of plateaued for a little while after making a few videos.
Well, we kind of got
discouraged.
I don't know if any of you were like, I don't even think we need to do YouTube. I think it's just a waste of time. I'm just discouraged that it's not getting more than, you're like trying to put in effort and then like nothing's happening. So for probably 2 months.
That was about a month and a half.
About a month and a half. We didn't really do anything. And so what got us back on track, and this was right after Christmas.
Yep.
And we were at Walmart, and this lady comes up, like, we're just shopping, and she goes, I just want you to know, I have no clue who she is. And she was like, we watch you on YouTube. And I went,
that is so cool. I've yet to really have that happen to me.
And so we started back.
Yep.
It happens to me at work. People will go, I saw you on YouTube.
Yeah, and I was so like, but it kind of ignited that, like, okay, you know what? We're going to do this. Yeah. So we've got back into it.
And we've only been doing this since December.
Yes, since December. That's how long we've had our channel.
Okay. All right. So you've got some content out there that people can go back and watch and get to know you a little bit more, and go all the way up to the top. There'll be the second comment that you'll see, and that's how you can get to their page. I actually just double checked everything, and that's a good reminder. I have it down at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. But if you're watching from, say, an iPhone or whatever, you'll have to exit out, go in, give that thumbs up, and then come back in to be part of the conversation. And so I just did that on both of their channels to make sure that they get those thumbs ups. We want to support them if you are watching on their channel. And if you are watching on their channel, you will not see the conversation that's going on with the full chat. You'll have to come to my channel to be to see that. But I do try to bring up topics of conversation that need to be brought up. So I forgot to kind of get that out of the way for part of the introduction. Next thing I always think is fun to just kind of as another icebreaker is how that you got your name, your channel name or your blog name or whatever, how you started. Because I was like you, I started as a blog and I had to find a name because you have to name it. And so tell us your story, Philip and Barbara.
So it really kind of started way back, just my dream of having a nice secluded little place tucked away. And as I got to looking at properties, looked at multiple, and then when I finally settled down on it, we truly have a mountain, a piece of a mountain. So awesome. The name just kind of stuck, so we kept it as Kowalski Mountain.
I love it. Okay, Fuller Faith Farm.
Okay, so our last name is Fuller. So, but we were kind of playing around with it because we didn't know exactly, like, so we had goats and we had to take down like 30 trees to be able to have a garden. So it's like, okay, we're really trying to be a farm, but we have lots of trees. And if you want to find out how much I don't like all these trees, you can go visit the YouTube channel. But, we're Christians. So faith is a big part of who we are, why we do what we do. We're very involved in our church and everything like that. So we knew we wanted that to be a part. So we were just playing around with it and just kind of, you ever do like little words of like, oh, what goes with this? And then it just kind of went Fuller Faith Farm and it just stuck. Yep.
I love it. I love it. I assumed that it had something to do with religion and
yes, ma'am.
But then I was like, Fuller could be a name. Fuller could be you're full of faith.
Yeah, or, we're like full of faith.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to say a quick hello to Back to Good Off Grid. They are on one of your two channels, and so I want to make sure I get to say hello. Because like I said, they won't be able to see all the comments, but we're just so excited that you guys are here watching on other channels too. So why not I give you each the opportunity to just tell us a little bit about your channel or your farm or what you do as a whole? Because I know that a lot of my viewers are probably new to your channel through the collaboration. And so we want to hear a little bit more about you, excluding the soap making. We'll get to that part in a little bit. We'll all chat about that later. So Kowalski Mountain, we'll let you go first again.
Okay, so it kind of really revolved around my dream. Me having 20 years military background, I've always wanted to be able to provide for my family, and really, and not to say prepper, but everybody preps. Everybody goes grocery shopping. Everybody males. We try to provide for our families the best that we possibly can. So, really, in short, I wanted to be able to be self-sufficient, off-grid, unrelying on everybody else. And in order to do that, I had to do a lot of homework and been doing gardening and animal husbandry for quite a long time. Then I got into beekeeping. Well, I do tree work for profession. That just happened to really blend with everything. And so we really did the homework as to what animals we should have on the farm without just diving into it. So I set a plan to become debt-free in order to have this freedom on the farm. And on the farm, you have to learn how to make it work for yourself. And I asked my wife to kind of track us so that anybody else wants to get started. It's not an unattainable goal. You can reach out and do it, but too many people, I'm quitting my job, I'm selling my house, I'm moving to the woods. Well, let me tell you what, I think there's a lot more people that fail because they just don't plan. So knowing all that, we put our heads together and we've come up with our farm.
And we don't actually live on our homestead yet. Our homestead is in Kentucky.
I wondered when you said
Florida.
Yeah.
Slowly build it piece by piece. So by the time we're ready to step off, we literally just turn on the lights and we're there.
So we go to Kentucky and we do what we call workations because we're not on a vacation. And we've been building the infrastructure of the homestead over the last 5 years.
7. This July I'll have it 7 years.
I didn't know him when he purchased the property. I met him. I probably delayed the process a little bit. My grandbabies are here. We're looking at moving this year. So we're almost to that goal.
I would say you guys are definitely determined if you have put that many years into going back and forth. I mean, that's just faithful to your dream.
You can't do anything else. You plant trees. So we've got fruit trees, we've got vegetables. We try to see what can grow, what can't grow, and even working on stocking a pond, which we've had a blowout. So every little thing is going to take time to develop. So why not develop while we're not there and don't need it?
Yeah.
We homestead here. I mean, we raise chickens and we do all the homesteading things here. We do it in both places.
So your channel kind of just shows a little bit of everything. The things that you are doing now and the things that you're working towards. So, you can teach people beginning stuff too. That's great. Okay. So that is fantastic to learn about you. And I'd love to hear about Fuller Faith Farm and what are your channel, what are your goals and what do you like to show and what kinds of things can we learn from you?
Boy. So we started out with one goat. That was a wedding gift.
3 years
No
ago.
way.
Yep. We got married right in the middle of that big C word that everybody doesn't like to say.
Everything shut down in March 2020 and we got married in May.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep. And I had
So was that an interesting wedding? Were you able to did you have to do a lot of virtual stuff?
It was family and friends and stuff. So what's funny is that we only really knew each other 5 months before we got married.
Wow.
And then we got married, and this is what blows everybody's mind is our first kiss was when we said I do.
I think that's so romantic.
So and
put a ring on
it really has been. It's so funny because we were both just kind of in not the best place. Like we each lived in like just a little single wide trailer. Neither one of us had land, but as we got to talking to each other, we found out like animals and farming and raising kids, like running in the creek and doing stuff like that, like it mattered to both of us. So we started looking for land, and then bought his great aunt's property
And she had 35 goats here
at one time.
So
Not yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was already a barn and everything.
can't.
And he was still in the military when we got married.
Yep.
So it's been literally a year since he's been out. That's why he has the beard. But he was in
The rebellious stage.
Yeah, he was in for 12 years.
Yeah, I still keep the haircut.
Yeah.
You know.
But he is very much like, we want to be self-sufficient. So we started looking at, so he researched the best animals for our property too. So we live like in a valley, and there's hills and rocks. So goats really was the best animal for the property we have. We eventually, once we get trees and some things, better taken care of. But right now there's holes, so we don't want a cow to break its leg. So now goats work for us, kind of like what you were talking about before. You have to find what
works best.
What works, because you can't be like, well, I want a cow now, and then you're just gonna have to. It's gonna be a steak. So you can't it's because you have to do what works. And we have chickens. I got really big into chickens, and I'm the chicken lady.
Chickens.
Aren't chickens the gateway animal?
They are. Like we have probably like 100 maybe right now.
Oh wow!
We're selling some.
Bigger than me. Bigger than me for sure.
Yeah.
Now, are they all laying, or are they part meat birds?
Dual purpose.
Yeah, a lot of them are dual purpose birds. So
well, we just did we had ordered some Cornish rocks to do a quick meat bird thing, but we're also in the process of trying to find a sustainable chicken that is a dual purpose. So we have like a big Brahma rooster, and we're kind of doing the barnyard mix effect to see what grows out the quickest and the best. Because self-sufficient, you don't want to continuously have to order the birds from somewhere.
Sure.
And we incubated a lot of birds. We got into ducks. We love our ducks.
They're pigs, but I
I
love them.
love them.
they are.
I'm going to stop you for just a second, because Barbara had chimed in and said something, and I didn't catch what it was. We were talking chickens. Does that ring a bell?
We were talking about they had the 100 chickens, and we all went, oh my gosh, but we can't really talk because when we got the incubator out, we just kept putting eggs and eggs. We had 50 turkeys.
Yeah.
And then we're having to manage all these male turkeys.
Yep.
So we know how you got there.
I had to stop.
We were looking at the American breast chicken so that we can provide for our own, not rely on someone else to provide us. So we're kind of looking at Kowalski Mountain as being like the little Noah's Ark. So I try to tell my grandkids that's kind of what we have. We have breeding pair of certain things to keep us going.
That's what we got.
We also help with a school project where they get our eggs and they incubate them and they hatch them, and they only keep them for a few days before they're like, hey, these are now yours, come get them. So,
see, now I'm not as nice as you. I give them the eggs gladly. I let them. There's a nursing home I give to a lot of times too, and I've given turkeys and ducks, and the only thing I haven't, that's peacocks. I don't really want to give those eggs. But I'm always like, but they're yours. So whatever hatches, you have to find a family. And sometimes the kids will get to, if they come on a farm or whatever, their parents will let them take it home, and one of the classmates gets to take it or whatever. But the lady with the nursing home, I'm like, get a hold of your cousin, because when they leave my farm, I don't want them back, because I can't handle taking on just a couple. I don't want that mess. If I'm going to have a mess, I'd rather have
a lot.
Oh
yeah, more than like 2 or 3.
They buy almost 100 eggs from us for this. So
well, and they buy the eggs from you. That's awesome.
Yes.
So that's kind of a win-win.
This year.
We donated them this year, but she still refused to just absolutely take them for free.
She's one of our church ladies, and I'm like, look, you're giving the chickens back. Like, I can sell them or whatever. Like, don't buy them. But she just does not listen to that. She's just like, no, here.
Yes, I do. I have peacocks. They're loud, and I'm surprised you don't hear them in my videos. If you go back, you'll probably listen and you'll think, what's that screaming lady?
Yep.
Well, no,
I
it's the
want
peacocks.
peacocks, and I have to
Yeah.
justify why we need peacocks.
If an animal that doesn't have a purpose on the farm, I really didn't want it.
That's
Philip, you can eat it.
Well,
It's
yes,
Better not.
winner.
it's like the goats. You know, the goats are good while you have briars and underbrush.
Yeah.
But when the briars are all gone, we have other people that we follow, the Dohertys, and as soon as their brush was gone, the goats were gone. Now it's sheep and cows, so you move to the next one. So they're just working animals. So
Oh, yeah.
That's why I
Alrighty.
like dairy animals. They're multi-purpose, you
Yep.
know. The kids used them in 4-H, but yet we also got milk out of them. Now I want to bring this up here. Cross a standard Cornish hen with a white rock rooster for meat. The Cornish gives a size and the rock helps them grow faster. Thank you, Dorothy, for that tidbit of information. Oh, I agree, Michelle. Both channels' stories are neat. I'm loving getting to know you guys just a little bit better. This is fun. Before I move on to the next question, did you guys have anything else about your channel that you wanted to share? Oh, I apologize. My son's doing some electrical work for me downstairs. Can you hear that? If it's too loud, I'll mute. I'm very excited to get some projects done around here.
Me too.
I think, yeah, there is one last thing that I'd like to add, and maybe other people feel the same way, is when you get into a group of like-minded people, you feel like you belong.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went to the homesteading convention, or we start to talk to people with similar interests, or some people say, we're living our dream through you, and we love watching you on how you're doing your journey. More often, why I wanted this to be recorded, my dream as we go, and now it's our dream, is there's a lot of good information out there. And I like to take a little bit from you and you and you and put it together and perfect it to fit our situation.
Absolutely.
So we all help each other, and we always welcome comments and helpful hints to help us along, because I'd rather learn from someone else's mistakes than make them, I don't want to recreate the wheel.
That's
Right.
wisdom.
Yes.
Well,
That's
and-
That's wisdom.
oh, we have Leanne. Hello. It is great when you can find these people, because although sometimes if it failed for them, it might still work for you, but you are aware in the back of your mind of things that could go wrong and how maybe you could tweak it a little bit to work for you, because some of it could just be the environment, like the goats may not thrive because you're very selenium deficient in your area, but somebody else isn't,
Right.
So yeah.
And he's so mechanically minded.
You got to be a master of a lot of things, very well rounded, know a little bit of most categories. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck.
You got to be willing to try. Like
Yeah.
get out there, and that's something we found is like you would find these YouTube channels and it would be good information and it may work good for them, but then we would try and it just didn't work. Like,
Uh-huh.
and we have done that a good bit. And so like when we're doing videos, any kind of how to, we go, this may not work for you. This is how we do it because it works for us. We have found things that may work great for someone else, but it's not in everyone does it, and it's okay.
Well, and Philip, I bet you have found that on each property, things are just a little bit different too. Like the growing
Yes.
conditions are probably different.
They
Or-
are, but and if people were to watch our 100th post, which is the dream post, my dream, we sat down and we talked about why we picked what we picked. That is really a good start for most people. If you're thinking about going homesteading or just going off grid, maybe not even off grid, just doing homesteading, you really need to pick people out that are developing a plan. Like I want to be able to hunt it, farm it, live on it, limited restrictions. So that means I need to test the soil. I need to know who my neighbors are, what you can and can't do, what you can hunt, where you can hunt. There's a lot of little factors, the taxes. I mean, the location, we being in the West Central time zone there, we have a lot of the north we can grow far down as us, and a lot of the stuff from the south as far up as us. So there's a lot of benefits there, and it's really neat. But like you say, might not work for you, but might work for somebody else. And truthfully, it could be right next door to you. That's what I've been looking for. How did you do that? And so we look for it. Honestly, I used to look at people's channels all the time. Now it's like I find no time to watch them, and not even our own. But I
Yeah.
can pick ours out. I could see one little clip and know that was ours. And
Yeah.
it was just off a photo. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And we garden here starting in February, and so he's ready early. And
Oh,
I'm like,
February
wow.
1st.
we cannot start gardening in Kentucky that early.
Yeah. Yeah.
She don't know what I got in the ground up there. She hasn't been up for 2 months.
I love it.
I planted a few things, so.
So back to good off-grid says, I love watching and learning from you all because we are just getting started in our raw land, living in our camper and waiting on permits to get our septic, then build them animals. That is awesome. Congratulations to you. That is so exciting. I think that's what our next one is. Yep. Don't never give up. Even if others say no, it will happen in time. Don't rush and enjoy the process. I think that's good advice because sometimes I let myself get in my head too much because I might look at somebody else and I'm like, they're doing all this, but then I have to rein it in and remember, what else am I doing that they aren't doing? Do they have hands helping that I don't have? And we need to just get out of our own heads and enjoy it, because then by the time you finally get there or you get part of it done, you're so exhausted you want to quit. Kind of like with you guys and doing YouTube, you're like, oh, is it even worth it? I just don't even know. But then you got recognized and you're like, that little bit of confidence, brought it back for you.
That's where she's at. She feels like she should be so much further ahead. She sees a lot of you fellow YouTubers. Well, she's just been on it for 6 months and she's just blown the doors off. I'm like, babe, have a little faith, relax. We're recording our journey, not putting out content just because someone requested it. We're not fake. Right. This is truly what we go through. And what's kind of funny is watching her bloopers and some of the stuff I never caught and her falling back in the garden. And it's just truly funny.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I don't want to get all into that too much, but some of the channels that blow up, you need to remember that you can buy views, you can buy subscribers and stuff like that. And so remember that when you see someone that maybe you don't know and you see something like that happening and you don't know for sure that they're real, you've got to remember that you're doing it because you want to get things organically. You want to do it, you want to be sustainable. So, but I don't want to get into that too much, but just, because I've had those moments too, where I'm like, I've got this many videos or I've been doing it this long, but I also need to realize that I'm doing it because I want to enjoy it and I'm not. Yeah. So, now that we know a little bit about you guys, and it seems like we're all very much homesteading type people, and I think everybody in the crowd pretty much is, even if they live in town, they love to do gardening or, watch other people. I know Michelle, I'll call her while I'm milking and she's like, oh, I'm just going to live vicariously through you. And then today she was telling me about a U-pick garden. I'm like, I'm going to live through you. Because around here, you can't get U-pick vegetables. I was just mind blown with that. It's all fruit. And so I thought that was an interesting concept, so now my wheels are spinning and I'm like, that needs to happen around here. So anyway, I think we're going to go downstairs and start there. And we'll have Fuller Faith Farm. I don't ever say, unless you put your names on the description, I don't say names because sometimes people want to keep that private. So that's why I'm saying your channel names instead. So tell us how soap making made it to your world.
So since we were given a goat as a wedding present, I decided.
And we're assuming it's a dairy goat.
He was a boy.
Okay.
He was a dairy breed. He was a Nubian. We went ahead and did the research and knew, well, it's best not to just have one goat there, herd animal. So we started looking. We bought him a friend that was weathered while we were looking for a doe. And then we found
we rescued a mama and
the mama.
A baby, and it was in a bad situation, and the mama didn't make it because with goats they're really hardy animals. Like,
but they're
they
at the same time.
They could go forever and it's fine, but as soon as they get an issue, like, you need to catch it quick. So then we went and found another female.
Yeah, we bought the wether and the mom was essentially given to us since she was sick. And the owner of
So you took on a sick goat as a new goat owner.
yes,
Well,
Wow.
I was a vet tech for 6 years.
Okay, so you had a little bit of knowledge then.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like animal stuff. Like Ben does a lot of like he does the soap making and a lot of the building and everything. But I'm the type of person that I can walk outside and I'll be like, "There's something wrong with that chicken. Like it's not walking right. It's feathered. There's something. It's out of place. Like it's just I'm the animal person.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
So as we journeyed through all that, we finally found a doe, and we got her and her kid.
that
Which
he ate.
he never got a name. His name was Baby Goat because he was annoying and
He was.
he screamed 24/7.
He was. It was.
Was he
I was
Nubian?
like-
I've heard that breed does that.
He would literally, it was like and it was the most obnoxious thing, and we even had family come over that like pretty like like loving animal people. They're like, you need to eat that one.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna eat any of them, eat that one. Like it's terrible.
his name did turn to dinner, but so I was just looking at different ways to use the goat milk, and I had seen some of the Amish soaps and some of these other natural soaps, and my grandfather grew up making lard soap, and I was like, they put goat milk in that, so I was like, let's give it a go. So I just looked up some videos on YouTube, of course, and looked at all the ingredients lists, looked at all the recommendations, gave it a shot, and I've been personally bathing with it for almost 2 straight years now. And we don't mass produce anything. We just make a few batches at a time, sell out of it, make some more.
It goes quick.
But
Like
it
when
does,
people
it goes
find out
quick.
that we have made the soap, they're like, okay, like I want.
Yeah.
There's one person that was like, everyone in my family uses it now. I need a whole thing.
Yeah. I
Uh-huh.
have a guy that
Yeah.
every couple of months he buys an entire batch at one time.
Word of
And it
mouth
should
is the
be-
best, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And it really is good soap. Like
Oh, I love it.
because like regular like in the store soap, like sometimes the bar soap, it almost leaves a residue and it's not that great. But like we started using it, and I was never a bar soap fan. Like I'm a body wash girl.
Mhm. You know
And-
that one store
Like, I'm
that we all
like,
like to go to.
Because it just felt ugh. And
Yeah.
it actually, I'll be honest, I've probably only been using our soap for the past like 2 months because it took me that long to convince myself that fine, I'll try.
Yeah. It's hard to let go of habits sometimes.
It
you
is,
know?
but I do love it now.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do, and this year already we've probably made the most amount of soap that we've ever made, and we have the biggest stockpile
Yes.
because we don't have a lot of grass and we have a lot of trees. It costs more to feed and everything, and so
Mhm.
we typically let them dry up pretty quick instead of trying to prolong it, because when you have to spend that extra money, it's just not really worth it. But this year we've cut down a lot of trees, and we leave them laying down, let them strip all the leaves off of them before we do anything with them. We do have a little bit of greenery, brush and stuff growing back this year, so we've kept her in milk a lot better this year, and so we have a lot of frozen milk put away.
We actually have a couple of videos of like us milking her and like going through the whole. I mean, it was on the June is Dairy Month thing, but
Yeah.
And she's not actually a true milk goat.
She's
like,
just a great mama.
She's the best. She's amazing.
So is she like a mix, or what? Do you know her
Yeah,
breed?
she's a mixed breed.
She's like a Boer Nubian.
Yeah.
So Boer is
Uh-huh.
more your meat. So sometimes the babies that she throws are like
massive.
big. They're big
Just-
babies.
Mhm.
But
They-
she's like a helicopter mom. She's always
Yeah, you ain't getting too
Aw.
baby.
and
No.
so her
She's
little,
worth keeping.
Yes,
oh
ma'am.
yes, her little weather right now is well past weaning date, and she's still just like doesn't care. She's like, "Hey, son, you can have whatever you want." So,
So, I think I'll skip upstairs here for a minute, and I do have more questions about you and your soap, but I want to hear a little bit about how soap making came to their farm.
Well, I only started making soap about 6 months ago. I grew loofah gourds in my garden last year, and they grew really well. And I had like 25 or 30 of them, and I'm like, I know you can use this in soap. And so I learned how to make soap so I could do that. And I really like the soap too. Like you said, that residue that's on your skin, you just don't have that. You actually feel clean. And on my blog, I did a whole post about the benefits of goat's milk soap. And I'm like, I can get rid of the body wash, I can get rid of the facial cleanser, I can get down to a single bar of soap and do everything I need to do. And it's so much better for your skin, and it helps with acne and wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm into this soap. I'm really, really loving it. And I did peppermint, which is so invigorating. It smells so good.
I bet you feel so fresh when you get out of the shower afterwards. And I bet it could possibly help. I know I've made some with eucalyptus in it, and it's always nice when you're kind of stuffed up, and it kind of opens you up a little bit. I bet the mint does that a little bit for you too. So it sounds like we all three really like making goat's milk soap. I'll tell you how I got started in making soap, and then we'll get into some more questions. I actually was overwhelmed with milk. I didn't know what to do with all of it. I had never really drank goat's milk before. I find that after a couple of days, back then, now my goat's milk tastes fresher longer because I've learned how to, chill it faster and things like that. But after like day 3, I was making cheese with it because I like that little twang to make my cheese. But then, by day 10, I was like, "Ree." And so I started making soap. And then my daughter had skin issues, and it worked really, really well for her. So that's how I got into making soap. And then I started selling it at farmers market. So that's my next question for everyone is how do you choose to sell your soap if you do sell it? You guys, Fuller Faith Farm does word of mouth. Do you do anything else? Do you do farmers market or online sales?
We advertise through Facebook and word of mouth, and typically my job buys 80% of our bars that we make. I've got a guy that buys a batch every couple of months, and then a few that buy several bars at a time, and then a few people at church. But it's usually sold before I even realize that I'm almost out. So, yeah.
And you have to think ahead about it because you've got that time for it to cure and dry.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about you, Barbara? Do you sell your soap? Do you have an outlet for that?
I haven't sold it yet just because I've just started learning to make it. So I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before I started selling a product. And of course, I still work full time. So, between my blog and my YouTube channel, it's just really busy.
Yeah.
I did want to address a question, though, that was in the chat from Where to Begin Homestead. They asked about how to get over the fear of lye. And that was a really big concern for me as well. So I made a point to learn as much as I could about lye and know how to handle it safely. Now, I'm kind of a type A person. I wear my gloves and my long sleeves and my goggles just because that's who I am. And once I could get over that, I was fine. And I made myself really clear instructions. I wrote down every step so I wouldn't make a mistake because I was concerned about making a mistake. And I just went for it. And so I really want to encourage people. It's really not scary. And it's actually a lot of fun. I really like this soap. And if you are careful and you follow the directions, you're going to be okay.
I was the same way. I was very fearful of lye and if it touched me. So I'm like you. I wear the gloves or the long sleeves or whatever. But I do want to encourage anyone here in the chat or anyone listening later. If you have not seen her video, she did a really good job explaining the safety and stuff like that about soap making and lye, probably because she is so new and it's fresh on her mind that you know,
And I'm
I
still pretty anal about
yeah,
it.
and I kind of got lax on that a little bit after having done it several years, and I had a little fall on the floor and didn't even think about it and thought I'll sweep it up later, and I had a dog come through, and then she ended up screaming, and I thought for sure that she had licked that up. Actually, she had fallen and broken something, but it was a good reminder, that oh yeah, you got to make sure to be super careful. And then I want you guys, any advice or anything that you have about the fear of mixing lye or anything like that that you'd like to add to the conversation.
Well, we actually, so Ben doesn't wear gloves and goggles and stuff. Just he's finally wearing gloves to cut down trees, which I think is finally, because he's just that guy. So, but like we prefaced at the video, I was like, Ben does not wear goggles and gloves and stuff, but lye is something that you may want to. And we actually had a comment on our video. It was like, I'm so tired of people not using safety. And I was like, we said you could.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Explaining something and throwing safety in the wind, and I was like,
I really said you could. I mean, like, but like with Ben, he's one of those like I mean, you obviously don't put your hand in it, but like he like gloves just makes him feel like he fumbles more.
Yeah.
Like he's got trigger finger
And
from the military and stuff, so he's like, I need the least amount of obstacles.
Yeah.
I'm 34 with arthritis in my hands. I want to be able to feel what I'm doing to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I respect that, and that's the thing about YouTube. We all do things a little bit differently, and we can learn from each other, and we don't need to get nasty about things. Okay, if someone was offended by you not wearing gloves, then move on. Whatever.
It was just the one person.
Yeah.
And we get OSHA comments on our other videos too, with some of the ways we stand on ladders or handle.
Yeah.
We had our guardian dog was in the rain, and someone told us we were cruel people. I was like, she's choosing to be in the rain.
Yeah. There's
a guard right there.
You're choosing to do what you want. I mean, nobody knew the backstory, and now we all know. So if you're the nasty one that made a hurtful comment, understand that it is because of a feeling thing. I mean, I can imagine someone who would have carpal tunnel and what am I trying to think of when you get the numbness, whatever. Anyway, you need to do what works good for you, and it's the same thing with canning. A lot of people get all worked up about that kind of stuff too, and you watch the videos and they'll say, this is how I do it, this is the books that I use, but do what works for you. And that's just kind of, I think, the whole thing in general. Neuropathy, thank you, that's what I was trying to say. Thank you. Leanne has a comment. People have learned to be bold because you're not right in front of them on the internet. She's right. Yeah. She and I have had conversations about how people can.
There used to be different consequences back in the day.
And so, yeah. I personally choose to wear the gloves, but that's because I've had a couple of times where above the glove, when I wasn't wearing like a long sleeve or whatever, I didn't notice it, and it got under the glove, and it actually got caught in the glove. So probably wearing the glove may have harmed me more because it got caught under there when it would have been, whatever. So we're going to move past that, but it's really not as scary, I think, but I would suggest to a beginner that if that does scare you and you've never made soap before, you can actually buy soap bases that have already made it past that process of saponification, and you could start with a ready soap base. And so maybe that could be something just to get you there.
And they also recommend not starting with goat's milk. That's a little bit more technical to have to protect the milk from scorching,
Mhm.
but I did. I just jumped right in and went for it. So
That was me too. And I was like you, and I did a lot of research. And so I knew it could scorch. And so I knew to freeze the milk first because, you know, when you try with just refrigerated milk, it will turn brown and it will scorch. And even it can still do it, even frozen. I mean, but yeah.
I did try to skip using the water bath after watching your video because my milk is frozen. And I got nervous halfway and I ran in and got ice and put it in ice.
Better safe than sorry.
Well, I could feel the bowl heating up and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh no, this is getting too hot.
Ben's always like, touch it, it's warm.
I don't mind if it changes color a little bit. It doesn't bother me too bad. I will actually have just ice under and do like a double boiler type method, you know, where instead of hot water is just ice. But I liked the ice water because it kind of moves a little bit better, I think, than just ice cubes. And another trick that I do that I don't know that I saw either of you do, maybe, I don't know. My memory is as small as a gnat, but I like to put mine in even the refrigerator to help it stay cooler longer so you don't get that blow in the middle, you know, when it gets too hot. I've had that happen even by putting it in. I have like a wine fridge. I put it in one time and it still happened to me, but that's helpful too if you.
Now you guys don't put yours in the fridge, right?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
A
I
lot
didn't
of
even
people
know that
don't.
was a thing.
And I put mine in the
Ice like-
freezer and
Yeah.
it still did.
And see, I don't know if the freezer is
The
too
middle?
cold.
Well,
Try it
when-
in the fridge and see if that makes a difference.
Well, one of my viewers actually commented on that.
Okay.
They said that the freezer puts it on hold. So it kind of holds the saponification process. So when you move it to the refrigerator or wherever, then it actually goes to the cooling phase. And the reason I don't is because we live in an RV and I don't have a big refrigerator. I don't have room in my fridge for soap. So I'm just going to accept gel phase. If it happens, it happens. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It doesn't hurt the soap. It'll still go through its whole process. It just maybe not look the way you want it to. And sometimes actually I think it kind of looks cool when it happens.
Mine came out so pretty. I was so happy with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
do you do molds or do you do like the big block?
I usually do the big block. When I do my loofahs, I do the round ones.
Okay. We've done the loofahs one time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't grow them. They were gifted.
They were gifted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I usually do the square molds, or I used to, and now I've gotten away from it, is use Pringles cans and put it in a print. So you could like actually put your whole loofah down in your Pringle can if it's a small enough one. Some of the ones I grew were way too big, but you could put it down in there and then put your soap in there to fill it, and then you just peel it off and then slice it. And that's how I
try it. I want to try it in a like a milk container for like half and half, because when you put the soap in that, it kind of bows a little bit, so it has not a square shape. It's got a cool shape to it. And
yeah,
I still buy milk. I have access to those containers.
Yeah. That would be fun. That is fun. And I when I first got started, I just used whatever I could find. Like I went to the thrift store and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And I mean, I had like Tupperware and whatever, I could find and I would use. I want to say hello to anyone that's popping in late. We've got 9 Acre Family Farm. I think I might have saw Nana 9 Acre, Nanny Tam, Derek Fowler. I don't know if I say hello to you. Where to Begin Homestead, Joey Fix It For You. If I'm missing anybody, please know that we appreciate you being here and we're so excited. And I would invite anyone over in the side chat to please ask questions. Anything soap making, now is the time, because we've got another 10 minutes here. And we're all 3 soap makers. We may not have all the answers, but we can definitely give it our best. And we love talking soap making. Oh, here, Leanne's got a question. I have never personally. Have you? Anyone here? used a
We
candy
did.
mold.
So you know the round silicone that you can do like the hot chocolate bombs in.
Oh,
We
yeah.
bought some silicone molds of that and actually did some like little half moon soap out of that, and they turned out
Yeah.
great.
Yep.
So we did
Creative.
actually do that.
And that's what we put the loofahs in. We put the loofahs
We
in
did.
those. Yep.
We did.
Okay.
That I bet that was fun. Has something I always wanted to do, but I haven't done yet because I've always just done them in the big like Pringles or in the other things. I've done a few in the flat molds. I recently did a butter my first cow's milk soap. I haven't put it out for sale or anything yet. It's a I used buttermilk, and it's my brain's not gonna let me talk the right words today. One of you guys will pop up and say it probably for me, but it's mostly olive oil. What kind of soap is that called? Any
Castile.
anybody?
Castile
Yeah.
soap.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. So it's supposed to be good for like babies. And so I got excited and I made that one. And so I did do a mold, and it has a cow and a baby calf with it. So that's fun. But I would like to do this rope, so I could do soap on a rope. Have either of you tried that yet? Nope.
And
Okay,
you
so now,
guys should
are we
actually
all
try.
challenged?
You guys should try Castile soap since you like your body soap so much, because you can make a liquid soap.
Yeah.
She takes the loofah and splits it down the middle and makes it squares and then sews it together. So it makes it a wash
A sponge.
sponge.
Oh,
And you just keep the soap in the base of it, or you can leave it open and slide it in.
Oh, that's fun.
We got a couple questions in the chat there.
Oatmeal softness, not so much.
That's one of the very
On the
first
face.
We do
thing that I put in is oatmeal in my soap. And actually my daughter would use it on her skin. She had like eczema and stuff, and it was really good for that. But yeah, for your face, what I do is I blend it to a powder where it's almost like oatmeal flour to be able to do it for something like that.
I
So
love oatmeal in my soap because I like the exfoliation thing, but I had to make him smooth soap because he doesn't like it in there.
so maybe get your blender out and make it, or find some oatmeal powder or oatmeal
I
flour.
did blend it, but not enough.
Do that. Yeah.
I think there was a higher question too. Oh, there you got it. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, if I missed one before this, I'll just keep working my way back up. But personally, I love using essential oils when I can, but I do use fragrance oils on occasion. I am not really particular where I buy them from. There is is it Brambleberry? Am I saying, I think is right, where I've ordered from before. What about you guys? Where do you get your oils, and what do you use for fragrances?
I use essential oils, and I order them mostly from Amazon, which Brambleberry would tell you it's not the best place. I haven't had a problem with any of my essential oils from there. I've used all kinds of oils, and I have a video coming out before too long. We have a really big problem on our farm with turkey mites, and so I have made a tick repelling soap, which uses a lot of different essential oils in it. And I blended it myself, and I did a whole video on how I blend it and everything, but I haven't released it yet because I want to make sure it works before I call it my tick repelling soap. It passed the test in the spring. I only got one tick on me through the whole spring, but our next trip is going to be the real test.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that one. So everyone, make sure you're subscribed so that when that video comes out, we got to give that plug there for you. Michelle had another. She'll be leaving soon. Her channel goes live after mine. She may be gone. Do any of you sell blocks of plain soap for those of us like to add our own scents, melt down, and make our own? So no, I don't make a melt and pour base. I doubt either of you do either. Yeah,
I make unscented, but
we make unscented too.
Right, but I mean, to melt it back down, you'd have to do the crock pot method, and I don't think it'd be worth it. I don't think it'd be the product that she would like. Oh, hey, Carolina. She's come over from one of your channels, it looks like. So thank you for coming in and supporting.
So what essential oils do you guys like? Do you use anything special?
We've used like what you had talked about. We've used a lot of essential oils. I think our very first we were given frankincense and myrrh, so we called it Jesus soap.
Oh,
And it actually did really good.
It
But
did.
we're
fun
not really,
name.
we do some fragrance oils, not the real expensive stuff, and we really haven't had an issue with any of it. Like we just try to find like a nice, clean smell. And we haven't like no one has had an issue with it. If people are a little more sensitive to soap, we do recommend just doing the unscented. But I think through the soapification process and with the lye, it just takes care of the issue when it comes to the fragrance.
Yeah, I know some people add it. Some people add their fragrance while they're blending their mixture, but I actually add mine to the oil, so
I saw that.
it's soapified with the rest of the oils and not just a fragrance thrown in. So it's soapified and not just there for fragrance.
Yeah, I do mine mostly. Now I do put it in the oils when I make like lotions, but not with the soap. I don't know that it really makes a difference. Either way, I couldn't tell you the science behind it, to be honest.
It sounded good.
I think that they suggest with most products, if you use a carrier oil, it helps with scent stay in longer. So maybe that's what you're getting. Because like a lot of people will use a little castor oil for that as a carrier oil. Anyone who's really into essential oils could probably chime in and tell you all about that.
And the only thing I know about it is that some essential oils can accelerate trace.
Yes.
I haven't had a problem with one yet, but I was curious how that worked if you added it early, if it helped, if it changed your trace.
Vanilla is terrible, but it's not essential. It's a fragrance.
Yeah, we've had a few that
it changes the color
or later, but
yeah,
it's usually not a huge difference.
We've had different oils, like it would change the color a little bit. And it would either make it would be just a little softer or a little harder depending on the oil. But that's about the only thing that we've had.
So we've just got a few minutes left here because I don't want to take everyone's time. We've talked about fragrance oil, but we haven't talked about colorants. What kind of things do you guys like to use for colorants? I'll start off. I use the liquid and I put the droplets in there according to whatever I feel. It's just made for soap and that's all I use. I know that there is like metallics and things that you can use to make it fancy with the powders. What about you guys? Have you done that or is it just all natural?
All natural.
Well, didn't we buy?
Yeah,
we have some, but we tried it once and it just, we did it wrong, I guess, because it just didn't work. So we haven't done it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it and we added what we thought was a pretty good bit.
We're trying to make it green and it didn't. It did not green.
Yeah. We added what we thought was a pretty good bit.
How much are you supposed to use? Because we thought we did it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. Sometimes when you're blending it, it looks totally different than what your end product is. I've got some soaps that are ready and they're on the drying rack. And I actually did a triple layer of 3 different colors. And wow, it really faded. And usually I have the opposite happen. Like greens are really hard for me too. They look like baby diaper. It's nasty. Yeah, I couldn't get that beautiful bright green, and then it popped out on one of them. But I do like to. I want to get more into more natural stuff because you can use like beet powder and things like that. I've used like coffee grounds and things like that. Would be. I like to try to stay more natural if I can.
Somebody should do a video as simple as can be to get people started.
Yeah.
And I also haven't used any colorants. One thing that I do want to try in our soap is our clay. In Kentucky,
Yes.
the clay
That would
is
be cool.
actually really good for your skin. What's it called? Something silt.
It's Zanesville silt. We actually were working in poison ivy, and I was down in it. Never came back with anything, and they had to have drawn out the oils in it. So that's the only thing I can figure. We never got any rash.
So I want to put a little bit in my soap.
I think that'd be cool. I've heard of people using like charcoal and all kinds of things like that. So I think that would be really neat.
Have you tried
guys-
beeswax?
Not yet.
Not in my soap.
I've done it with honey.
Lip balms. Honey, yeah.
Yeah.
And
They do it with
you gotta
tar.
watch the honey. Do
Yes.
what?
Yes, you have to watch the honey. They do it with pine tar. Is a really popular soap.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've only
Yeah.
read about it a little bit. I haven't made it yet.
Yeah, me either. That's a fun one to try, I'm sure. Now we all are gonna be like,
You know,
we're
look
gonna
at,
get some pine
I'm
tar.
about to go buy some Pringles. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I shared something.
For the Pringles or
useful.
the soap?
for the soap.
Okay. I got hungry. I was looking for
I know,
Pringles.
like, I'm just
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. Like my sister and I are fighting for the Pringles cans because she is an elementary PE teacher, and so she uses the Pringles cans for games and stuff. And so
Yeah.
I think I've decided to actually quit using the Pringles cans now and just go to bar soaps, just because I can cut and get my ounces better and it's all uniform. I don't know if I can completely give it up, but fair warning, make sure you get it nice and clean, because I did have a batch that had little bits of Pringle crumbs in the bottom of the can.
exfoliant.
And so I did. Yeah.
Potato exfoliant.
Yeah.
All not so natural.
And we want to work towards the goal of using not only our own milk, which will probably be cows because we bought our first Dexters, but we want to produce our own lard to produce our soap as well. So that's just the direction we're headed. So
That's awesome. My goal is to finally get a store online set up, because I have my farm stand where I sell my soap. I used to go to farmers market. I took that off my plate this year. I made myself do that. I'm missing it, but I made myself do it. And I want to have an online presence where I can have a store to sell. I have the soap to do it. I haven't found the time to do it. And I hope that you guys, we can all stay in touch and learn off of each other and encourage each other. This has been so great to have you guys all here. I really appreciate it. I know Michelle has already started her live, I'm sure, but I always try to have something fun, and I encourage everyone to go see Big Valley Living. And the fun thing that we get to say this week, if you're still with me and you haven't already gone over there, is tell Michelle that the Silly Soapers sent you. And so thank you all for being here tonight. And we'll see you next week when we have the big grand finale giveaway for the June is Dairy Month 2023. Bye, friends.
awesome. Thanks.
Bye.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thanks for having us. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.